Welcome back to Super Sunday Matchday. We are going to talk about Marcus Rashford and his future after Jamie Carragher suggested in his column in The Telegraph this week that Manchester United should consider selling him. Well, Carragher referred to Rashford's record in the Premier League since the start of last season. In that time, he scored 11 goals in 48 appearances with 3 assists. To put that into context, the Nottingham Forest striker Chris Wood scored 24 Premier League goals since the start of last season, while Erling Haaland and Mo Salah have got 13 this season alone. So as the restructuring continues at Manchester United, Carve, both coach, above the coach, playing squad 2, is now the right time for Manchester United and Marcus Rashford to part ways?
I think it's going to be very hard for Manchester United to sell him because how big his contract is and the kind of wages he's on. I'm not sure there are that many clubs out there who could match what he's earning at Old Trafford, as well as paying a transfer fee for him. But I don't really understand, why does Marcus Rashford always become the fall guy whenever anything goes wrong at Manchester United? I don't understand why there's always this focus on Rashford. I mean, some of the headlines in the newspapers over the last couple of days, I saw one that said, time to put listless Rashford out of his misery and let him leave United. Another one said, Rashford's application stinks. He's 27 but has the appetite of a 35-year-old. Another one was, Manchester United created this with Marcus by rewarding rubbish behaviour and displays with huge new contracts. And Troy Deeney, in his column in The Sun yesterday, said that Marcus Rashford is paid as if he's one of the top 3 players in the Premier League, but in actual fact he would not get in the starting 11s of any of the sides in the top 6 of the Premier League. I understand the criticism of Marcus Rashford. I understand people saying when he's on the pitch sometimes he doesn't work as hard as other players, but I would just say the problems at Manchester United go a lot deeper than Marcus Rashford's application on the pitch.
One of the things you would say is it is natural, particularly for someone who is an England international, for someone who
was.
He would argue, I'm sure, that he wants to be again in the near future, but who has a big profile, albeit for a lot of the stuff that he's achieved and done off the field as well, that naturally his form is going to get more criticism than Diogo Dalot, for example. The other point as well would be he has shown us the ceiling he has and what he can do, and when you're not at that level, that's going to be talked about.
Yes and no. I think everybody does want him to get back there, and I think that there has been that conversation around why he hasn't managed to get back there as well. We talked about it, yourself and me and you, Rob, and before the show, about the fact that other players with huge profiles, with huge price tags, have not yet really had anywhere near as much scrutiny as Marcus Rashford. Harry Maguire, has he ever been an £85 million player? Anthony, has he ever been a £70 million plus player? Casemiro, has he ever really responded to the criticism he had from Jamie Carragher about not doing enough in the middle of midfield? There have been so many. I think as far as, just to be even-handed with the Marcus Rashford situation, you gave some of the numbers earlier, and he has been at a very high level. Now, has that been an outlying season, or is it the ceiling that he could reach? But I'll say what I said to Vicky when she was here. She asked me about it a couple of months ago. Players lose form, athletes lose form all the time. And it's about finding why and being able to work on why. And under the previous regime, under Eric Ten Hag, a lot of players lost their form. You only have to look at Jadon Sancho at Chelsea to understand just how much people had written him off when he was a Manchester United player. Ten Hag had thrown him overboard. He goes to Dortmund and people say, oh, it's only Dortmund, but they get to a Champions League final. And then he goes to Chelsea and people say he's not going to be the same, but he makes an effective contribution in a side we now think is going to challenge for the title. So I think it has a lot to do with the overall picture at Manchester United. I think it has a lot to do, as I said before, with things that we may not even know about off the pitch. But I'd also say, as Kavya rightly says, I think there's a disproportionate amount of attention on Rashford, where there are other players who have underachieved just as spectacularly, who are managing to go under the radar as a result.
The problem is Manchester United. The problem is not Marcus Rashford.
So therefore,
a couple of seasons ago, Marcus Rashford scored, 30 goals under Erik ten Hag. Go back and look at how many different managers has he had to work with. How many different sporting directors, recruitment directors, chief executives. I mean, last season United had 3 chief executives in one season. He is not the problem. If he was at a club which was providing him with a more stable environment.
Hello Reds, welcome back to your #1 stop for all things Manchester United. Today we have some breaking news ahead of one of the biggest fixtures of the season, the Manchester Derby. Marcus Rashford, a player who knows how to rise to the occasion in these games, has been dropped from the squad for today's clash at the Etihad. Let's dive into all the details. Yes, you heard that right. Marcus Rashford will not be featuring in the Manchester United squad for the derby against Manchester City. This decision comes as a bit of a shock, especially given his history in this fixture. Rashford, who has scored 6 goals in 22 appearances against City, including one at the Etihad last season, was left out of the matchday squad entirely. It's been an interesting season for the England international so far, under new boss Ruben Amorim. Rashford started in the midweek Europa League win against Victoria Plzeň, but he was subbed off early in the second half. Despite showing flashes of form this season, with 3 goals to his name, he hasn't been a consistent starter recently. In fact, he's been named on the bench for our last 2 Premier League games, defeats to Arsenal and Nottingham Forest. What do you think, Reds? Should Rashford have been given the nod for such a crucial game? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for all the latest United updates as they happen. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a story. Many fans were hoping Rashford would step up today, especially given his track record in big games. However, it seems Amorim is looking to shake things up following a tough run of results in the league. The decision to leave Rashford out entirely will no doubt raise questions. Is this a tactical move? Or could it signal something more significant about his future role in the team? This omission also highlights a broader issue. Where are the goals coming from in this United squad? With Rashford's absence, the pressure will be on others to step up. City won't make it easy, but this is the perfect chance to show resilience and fight back after recent setbacks. It's going to be a massive test for the squad and for Amorim's plans. One thing is certain, the red half of Manchester will be hoping to see a big response.